It wasn't them. That exhausting feeling after being around people, it was never about the people. It's about what you had to do just to be in the room with them. Picture this. You're standing outside a party, hand on the door, and for half a second your face does nothing at all. Then you walk in, and it switches on. That switch is the whole story. Here's something psychology keeps circling back to. A lot of people who pull away from socializing don't actually dislike people. What they're avoiding is the performance, the smiling on cue, the small talk, the version of themselves they put on just to get through a room. There's a difference between being around people and pretending in front of them. And once your brain learns that difference, it starts keeping score.
Start here. Performing costs more than people do. Think about the last time you were on. Laughing at the right moments, nodding along, keeping your face doing the socially correct thing. That's not talking. That's managing a performance in real time. And the strange part? You don't even clock it as work while it's happening. It just feels like being polite. Psychologists call this emotional labor. The effort it takes to display feelings you're not actually having, just to keep things smooth. Nobody claps for that work, but your brain pays for it anyway, hours later, when you're alone and suddenly exhausted for no obvious reason. Quick gut check. When's the last time you were still smiling on the outside, but you'd already mentally clocked out? The reason isn't the people you were with. It's the mask you were holding up the whole time. And performing doesn't just cost energy. It costs you something more personal than that.
Small talk isn't boring. It's erasing. How's work? Crazy weather, right? Those aren't conversations. They're scripts. And a script has no room for the parts of you that are actually real. Try this. Try to remember the actual content of your last 5 small talk conversations. Can't? That's the tell. Psychology calls this surface acting. It's draining because it asks you to disappear a little, just to keep things polite. You're not avoiding people here. You're avoiding becoming a flatter version of yourself. Here's where your brain stops being patient with all of it.
It protects you from it. After enough performances that left you tired and enough conversations that felt hollow, your brain starts connecting the dots. It links social situation with effort, fatigue, fakeness, and starts steering you away from it before you even consciously decide to leave. This isn't shyness. It isn't coldness. It's a learned safety response. The same kind your brain builds around anything that's repeatedly cost you more than it gave back. Your body remembers the bill, even when your mind forgets the conversation that caused it. Solitude starts to feel less like loneliness and more like relief, because for once, nothing is being performed. Nothing is being asked of you. Quick pause here. Think about the last time you actually felt that relief. Was it with people or away from them? But here's the part almost nobody talks about. The part that actually proves you were never the problem.
Think of one person right now who doesn't make you perform. Got someone? That's not luck. That's the whole point of this video. Because around the right people, the rare ones who actually get you, none of this happens. No managing your face, no scripted small talk, no internal performance review running in the background. You just exist, out loud, without editing yourself first. And the moment you notice that contrast, effortless here, exhausting everywhere else, something clicks. It was never about people in general. It was about which people. That's the proof. If you truly disliked people, that ease wouldn't exist anywhere. But it does. It just only shows up with the few who never made you perform in the first place. Which means you were never antisocial. You were just done auditioning for people who never deserved an audition. So, the next time you feel yourself pulling back from a room, a group chat, a hangout, don't call it antisocial. Call it self-respect.
And maybe that's the real secret nobody tells you. The opposite of loneliness was never being surrounded by people. It was finally being unfiltered in front of the right one. If this hit something in you, hit subscribe. This channel's built for people like you. Next time, we go deeper. Why silence feels safer than people, and what it's actually protecting you from.